Zoe and I were staying at a beautiful turn-of-the-century place in Massachusetts. The pictures didn't do it justice. I mean, the ratings were 5 stars and the ad said it was built in 1890 and had a special history, but wow, that's all I could say when we walked up. We were totally blown away. When I unlocked the door, we were transported back in time. The house was jaw-dropping beautiful. I felt like we were in Hogwarts or something. There was really exquisite and ornate hand-carved woodwork throughout the first and second floors, stained glass windows, metalwork. You name the architectural detail from that time period, this home had it. I had never seen a place so ornate. Inside the home, there was a sign that said it was crafted by a master Freemason. There was a picture of the guy too. It was black and white, and the guy was dressed in full Mason regalia, looking all stoic. He was wearing a tux with a Mason apron, necklaces, the whole 9 yards. I guess it explained the way the house looked. Hanging on the walls were drawings and antique photos of people in 19th century clothing. They were all lounging leisurely, men in heavy suits, women in poofy lace-lined dresses. They helped bring life to the time period of the home. We dropped off our bags and explored a lot of Boston that day, saw the history stuff, Old State House, Faneuil Hall, Freedom Trail, Paul Revere's house, all of it. Lots of stuff to take in, more than I expected actually. We probably walked a good 10 miles, with a stop at the Cheers bar at the end of the day. I woke up the next day feeling really tired. I figured it was because we were out all day, exploring the sights of Boston. My muscles were stiff and sore. I stretched in bed and I heard my bones pop and crack. "Good morning," I said to Zoe, leaning over to give her a kiss on the cheek. That's when I saw it. "Your face!" I screamed. The sight made me jump out of bed, tired bones and all. Zoe was still coming out of sleep, but my scream jolted her awake. She touched her face. Her eyes squinted like she was touching something unfamiliar, like she was trying to figure out what the hell she was feeling. When she went to bed, her face was smooth, almond-shaped perfection. Zoe had always taken care of herself with a strict facial cleaning regimen before she went to bed. Water and scrubbing did wonders, she said. Her face was that of a porcelain doll. She didn't even have any stress lines like I did. But now, her face was haggard and droopy with ocean-deep wrinkles. She looked like my grandma. "You!" she screamed. You're old!" Now it was me touching my face, feeling the lines I didn't have when I went to bed. A 29-year-old doesn't have wrinkles, I thought. "What happened to us?" Zoe asked. "Did we eat something that's causing this? Like an allergic reaction?" We rushed. Well, maybe rushed is the wrong word, but we moved as quickly as we could to the bathroom mirror. We both had aged a good 50 years overnight. Our skin was saggy. Age spots dotted our face. Our hair turned from black to salt and pepper to white. "This can't be real," Zoe said. "Something's wrong. We need to go to the doctor, the emergency room." Zoe coughed, a wet cough, sickly. "You don't sound good at all," I said. "I think you're right. We need to see a doctor. It can't be anything we ate. Food doesn't make you age like this." Zoe turned to walk out of the bathroom and I noticed she was bent over, walking with a hump in her back. We were aging faster than ever, it seemed. I took her hand, helping her walk, ensuring she didn't fall and break any bones. I wasn't feeling too good myself, but Zoe seemed in worse shape than me. I was slower, but at least I wasn't walking with a hunch. We started walking down the stairs, and that's when I noticed the pictures hanging on the wall. I mean, really noticed them. They were the same as before, of course, but walking slowly down those stairs, I noticed their faces. Everyone in these pictures was old. Every single one of them was an old person on the wall. It was curious. I hadn't noticed it before. I guess because I was so enamored with the house and because I wasn't old myself. When we reached the bottom step, I think we aged at least 15 years. Zoe's hand felt brittle to the touch. She probably dropped a good 15 pounds since we first started walking down those stairs. Her skin was sagging, hanging off of her like a Shar-Pei dog. This house, there's something about this house. It ages people. You go to bed your normal self, but you wake up old and broken. Zoe had to sit and catch her breath. Her coughing got worse too. She sounded like she was hacking up a lung. I went to grab her a glass of water, and when I came back, she was slumped over. I thought she was sleeping. I was tired myself, but no, she was dead. When I went around front to check on her, her face looked more than 100 years old. She was a tiny skeleton of her former self. Yesterday, she was just a girl in her late 20s. I cried, let out a bit of a wail. Poor Zoe. She didn't deserve this. Neither of us did. All we wanted was some time to ourselves in Boston. A little getaway in a cute little house. We thought it'd be fun to see some of the sights of our founding fathers. And this place, what is this place? There's nothing medically that explains what's happening to us. Why would a normally healthy, full-of-life person suddenly age 60 years overnight? I looked over to the picture of the mason who built the house. He was smiling. I swear he wasn't smiling when we first saw that photo, but now he was. I thought about this house and its ornate woodwork and stained glass windows and how strange it all was. And I thought about the reviews, all 5 stars, all saying, "Come visit, you have to see this place." They had to be fake. Yeah, the interior and construction was amazing, but did what happened to us happen to the other people that stayed there? I walked back up the stairs, slowly hanging onto the handrail. I was feeling weaker by the minute, more frail. I looked again at the pictures on the wall. Who were these people? Were they like us? Did they age like us when they stayed at this house? Were they former occupants? Renters? That's when I noticed the picture at the top. It was Zoe, a picture of her on the wall. She looked just like she did when she died. Old. I saw her looking at me in that photo, and I sat on the top of the stairs and cried. So old, I thought. The look in the eyes were all so old. I felt the blackness inside of me. I was rotting. I knew it. There was something inside of me, a cancerous tumor growing, blocking out all healthy life. Maybe that's what happened to Zoe too. I don't need medical scans to tell me I'm next. Next to Zoe, there was another frame, an empty picture frame. I knew it was for me. My head hung low. I was resigned to my fate. All I can do was tell Zoe I was sorry for staying in this old house. My boyfriend Damien and I are real movie buffs, so we jumped at the opportunity to stay at an Airbnb at an old Hollywood mansion. The place even had its own movie theater. The house was something from the 1930s, really screamed elegance. It was supposed to be a fun movie weekend. Friday night we'd watch movies, Saturday we'd take a tour of Universal Studio and do the Hollywood Walk of Fame. For Friday we had 3 movies lined up, total marathon, complete with movie theater butter popcorn. The house had an old reel-to-reel movie projector we got to use. I thought it really added to the Hollywood feeling. The selection of movies they had for us to choose from wasn't the best. Actually, there were only a few. Not the latest and greatest, but it would do just fine. The first movie we picked out was an old 80s horror tale about a girl trapped in a house. I thought I had seen it when I was younger, but couldn't remember. A lot of those flicks seemed the same to me. Then we had Jaws, of course Jaws. I'd probably seen the movie a billion times, but that's okay. I never saw it in a private movie theater before. After that we had some old Hollywood Western. I wish they had Blazing Saddles, but nope. So we were left with something really spaghetti. I figured maybe Damien and I would get a little feisty in the theater and we wouldn't even get to that third flick, so I wasn't too bothered by the selection. The movie theater had maybe a 100-inch screen, maybe slightly larger. I'm sure back in the day it was massive, but with today's TVs, it didn't seem that impressive. There were 2 rows of real movie theater seats. They weren't the new ones that bounced back and forth, but the old stationary ones, the ones without popcorn or drink holders. There were heavy black curtains around the walls, I'm assuming either to deaden the sound or make the ambiance more movie theater-like. I could imagine some old Hollywood big shots in the room, smoking a cigar, screening their latest multi-million-dollar blockbuster. Damien microwaved the popcorn and put it in a big bowl. I said I'd get the projector set up and working for our first flick, the horror movie It Came From the TV. I'd never worked one of these reel-to-reel machines before, but the Airbnb host had step-by-step instructions next to the machine. After some luck, it worked, and I took a seat next to Damien, snuggling his arm as the movie started. He tossed a few pieces of popcorn in my mouth, missing with 2 of them but getting 1 in. From the speakers blared the movie's narrator. It was a new television age. Suddenly, families gathered around glowing tubes in their living rooms, watching the news. The screen cuts to a 50s family sitting around their giant box of a TV, eating off TV trays, watching the evening news. The newscast was supposedly live and there was some situation they were covering in a house. I grabbed some popcorn from Damien's bowl. He raised his eyebrows and flashed me a smile. The movie was pretty boring, to be honest. I thought it was going to be some slasher flick or something that would make Damien and I cuddle up together, but so far it was a bit of a snooze fest. On the screen, the family keeps eating their dinners in front of the TV. There's some situation at a house on the news and they're broadcasting live. I don't know if it's a tragedy or what. They don't really explain what the situation is. But then, the screen they're watching glitches out. The TV husband holds the TV wife, who screamed and knocked over her TV dinner while their screen glitched. Now it was getting interesting. Cheesy, sure, but at least something was happening. Damien snuck a peck on my cheek. I guess the little plot twist in the movie didn't grab his attention. I kept munching on my popcorn, wanting to see what was next. On the screen, the TV goes to static, then a strange ghost or whatever appears on their giant 50s TV set, freaks them all out and the whole family screaming and going nuts. The screen freezes and I hear a clanking noise from behind. I look back and the film projector, it broke. Damien threw popcorn at the screen in protest. What the hell? We're looking at each other all confused. Seriously, rent an Airbnb that advertises old Hollywood glamour and the projector breaks? You can't even watch a movie in the movie theater? Yeah, this is not a 5-star place. The projector got stuck on that picture of the ghost or person or whatever it was from the movie, the one that was freaking them out on their TV screen. We were staring at 100 inches of a ghost clawing at the screen through some white fog. Sitting in that dark home movie theater, it was actually kind of creepy. I wish it would have froze at a different screen and not that ghost staring at us, even if the ghost was from a cheesy movie. Damien and I tried to get the projector working, but no dice. It was literally just frozen there, stuck on that frame no matter how much we pushed and pulled the projector's different parts. Great, Damien yelled, throwing his arms up in frustration. There goes our weekend! Well, maybe not yet, I said, with a devilish grin as I pulled him towards me and planted one on his mouth. We embraced in front of the projector, our shadows blocking the ghost on the screen. Damien pinched my ass, I squealed, and we ran upstairs for some fun. If I had planned better, I guess we could have made our own little movie. Clang, clang! The sound startled me awake. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't see anything. It was the middle of the night. I had no idea what time. All I knew, it was dark. Thought maybe it was a dream, so I just tried to go back to sleep. Clang, clang! The same sound, a few minutes later. Now I was awake, fully awake. I looked over at Damien. Damien, are you awake? Did you hear that? Damien was snoring. Clang, clang! The sound made me jump. It was coming from downstairs. I whacked Damien across the chest, but he still didn't wake up. He just shifted so he was no longer facing me. Clang, clang! I pulled the covers to my chin. It had to be an intruder. We were getting robbed, or a murderer, a crazy killer. I'd seen enough movies, I know how this ends. Clang, clang. Shit, I pushed Damien's shoulder. Wake up, you lug! Someone's in the house! Let me sleep, Damien mumbled and put a pillow over his head. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand. It was 12:01 a.m. Clang, clang. I wish I didn't watch that stupid movie. Well, part of the movie. Even if it was cheesy and wasn't the best, my mind was racing with horror movie thoughts. Clang, clang. The sound wouldn't stop. It was 12:05 now. What could I do? Call the police? What if it's not an intruder? What if what I'm hearing is just some old pipes in an old home? I mean, it's a clanging noise. The same noise over and over. An intruder wouldn't be clanging like that. No, if you're robbing a home, a murderer or whatever, you want stealth. You don't want clanging. I tried waking Damien again, but he was not moving. Clang, clang. 12:09. The sound was consistently spaced apart. That's not a robber, I thought. It had to be something wrong with the house. And if it was, I had to find out what it was. Call the owner. I couldn't just leave it. If it was something bad like a busted pipe or something, and I didn't check it out or notify the owner in time, we'd be on the hook for repairs. I don't even want to think how much that would set us back. We don't have that kind of money. Clang, clang. I took some deep breaths and turned on the flashlight function on my phone. It was time to see what the problem was. I wasn't a fan of this at all. The house was big, foreign, and it seemed bigger at night too. I hate even walking in my own house in the dark, and that's just a tiny one-bedroom apartment up in the Bay Area. Anytime I was up in the dark, it was always spooky. My mind would play tricks on me, see shadows of things that weren't there, or think thoughts like I've already been thinking, robbers, murderers, that sort of thing. I pushed myself out of bed and the old wooden floors creaked when I stepped on them, making me freeze. Just the floors, Delilah. Just the floors. You got this. Clang, clang. I looked at the clock on my phone. Yep, still consistent, about 4 minutes between clangs. It's definitely not a robber, I thought, not a murderer. It's just an old house. Just an old house with old pipes and things that clang. And expensive repair bills. I had to press on, try not to let the creaks of the floor get to me. Hello? Anyone there? I whispered down the stairs, into the blackness of the house I didn't know. Clang, clang, came the response, as if on cue. It was so perfectly timed that I almost tumbled down the stairs in fright and had to clutch onto the handrail to hold myself up. I steadied myself, took some breaths. I got this. I got this. But my heart kept fluttering. I don't got this. I don't got this. Damien! No response. He was still sleeping. Okay, I could do this. I can. I know I can. It's just a noise, just a house. No big deal. There's no killer. I took another step. Clang, clang. I shined my flashlight down the stairs into the living room. There was nothing but the sofa and some knickknacks on the shelf. Nobody, not even weird shadows. Clang, clang. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I could pinpoint the sound. It was coming from the home theater. I could see the light from the projector dancing out of the room, casting shadows across the hall. The projector. Did we not turn it off? I thought about it and realized we didn't. We went straight upstairs for some nookie. With my flashlight guiding the way, I walked into the movie theater, and there it was. The ghost on the screen, just like we left it. Pawing at the screen, clawing at it, that frozen frame from the movie. Seeing it in the middle of the night, it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I could feel sweat forming on my forehead. It was just a frozen movie frame, but I was scared. As I concentrated on calming myself down, I stared at the movie ghost. I thought it looked the same, but slightly different. I couldn't really place it, but it seemed like something had changed with the image. Maybe the projector just skipped to a different frame. I'm not sure. Clang, clang. I screamed and jumped, dropping my phone. Now I was in total darkness, the only light coming from the projector. The noise, it came from the screen. I was trembling, shaking my head in disbelief. It couldn't have been, but I heard it from the screen. And the ghost on the screen, its hand moved. I swear it moved, very slightly, but it did. I saw it. A pounding motion like it wanted to get out, pounding on the screen, like it was stuck in that screen. Clang, clang. The ghost, it moved. I wanted to run to switch the lights on, but my legs wouldn't work. I wanted to scream for Damien, but my throat was locked in terror. I was cemented in place, unable to do anything but stare at that ghost on the screen. Clang, 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 clang. The ghost knocking against the screen. Oh my God, it's alive. Now it's coming towards me, straight towards me, like a creature from a 3D movie. I couldn't stop shaking. Something cold swept past me, then right through me. My stomach was cramping and I felt the dreadful sense of loneliness that came over me. I felt weak. And then the room went completely dark. No projector light, nothing but blackness. The whirling sound of the projector and advancing of the film broke the silence. A line of light beamed to the screen. The projector light was blinding, shining straight into my eyes. I could barely even see the theater seats. I knew I was still in the theater, but it looked different. I wasn't standing where I was before. Something was off. I squinted and saw myself, standing in front of me, blue plaid pajamas and all, smiling, waving. It was like I was looking at myself in the mirror. I looked down at my hand. What I saw wasn't my hand. It was a ghostly shadow of a hand, and it wasn't waving. It was no mirror. I was in the screen. Phoenix, Arizona. I was renting an Airbnb for Easter vacation. House with a pool was a must for the family. The kids said they would die without a pool. There's irony in that statement. The pool. Why did I ever rent a place with a pool? I found this great Santa Fe style house in a remote part of northern Phoenix. It looked like a total party house, but it was a good getaway spot. I wasn't throwing any parties. It was just the four of us. Me, my husband Dale, my 10-year-old twins Becky and Jill. But the house checked off all our wants. 2,500 square feet that screamed relax and enjoy your vacation. Bar with a big screen for Dale to watch sports. A sunning deck for me to lounge and read. And a massive pool for the twins. It was shaped like lips. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Or an open mouth. It was narrow on the sides and wide in the middle. I had never seen a swimming pool look like that before. We checked in and everything was great. The house seemed perfect. It wasn't until our second day in the house that something seemed to miss. That's when the twins went into the pool. The pool seemed fine. Water was clear, slight scent of chlorine. Seemed recently cleaned. We've stayed at other Airbnbs where the pool looked a bit nasty, but this wasn't one of them. Not even a cracked tile around the pool either. It was hovering in the mid-90s that day, and the twins couldn't wait to get wet. We were all sweltering. Becky and Jill stood at the lip of the pool, looked at each other, did their secret twin handshake, and jumped in together. The reaction was instantaneous. Water turned cloudy, then red. They screamed and jumped out as quickly as they could. Both were cut by their feet. The twins were so freaked out, they said they didn't want to go back in that pool. They said there was something in there, something grabbing them. It was weird. How could they both be cut? Maybe there was something sharp at the bottom of the pool, Dale said. You probably jumped in where it was too shallow and hit the bottom. Dale put on his swim trunks and waded in carefully, not jumping in like the twins did. The water stayed clear as Dale searched the bottom. Said he couldn't find anything sharp. Everything was fine, he said. You've had to have jumped in wrong or something. There's nothing here. It took the twins a full day to get the courage to go back into the pool. The weather got near 100. We were dying. Being from Minnesota, we weren't used to that sort of heat. I don't want to go back in, Becky said. her face showing fear. "Dad said it's fine," Jill said, tugging her twin's arm, trying to get her to go in with her. I told him it's vacation, go enjoy yourself. I said we don't have a pool like this back home. I said your dad checked it out and everything's fine. Just don't jump in where it's too shallow. Becky finally relented and the girls proceeded into the pool cautiously. Dale and I watched them enter and everything seemed fine. The water stayed clear. There was no issues. The twins were nervous at first, but they started splashing and playing and everything seemed good. Dale and I went inside to get some drinks, and that's when it happened. Screaming, "He's here! He's grabbing us! He's pulling us down!" We heard the thrashing in water, shrieks, cries. The blood-curdling noise made Dale and I drop our drinks, breaking the glass on the kitchen floor. We jumped over the sharp pieces, going outside as fast as we could, yelling the kids' names. When we got outside, we stopped short. The pool was red, blood red, and empty. We screamed and screamed the kids' names. "Becky! Jill! Becky! Jill!" The twins, they weren't there. Dale jumped in fully clothed. He was whipping water with his arms. I stood on the side and yelled for the kids. He dove under the water to search for them and came up covered in crimson, the sight of a man literally taking a bloodbath. I stood at the pool's edge, frantic. "There's no one in the pool," Dale yelled at me. "They're gone." He went under again to confirm and surfaced a minute later, still empty-handed. We kept screaming, shouting the twins' name. We searched all over the backyard. We even unlocked the gate and searched the street and neighborhood just in case. Nothing. They were gone. When we got back to the house, the pool was crystal clear again. It looked just like it did when we arrived at the house. Dale jumped back in, inspecting every inch, every tile. There was nothing that could explain it. Dale said we should call the police, but I said, what would we say? We can't report kids that have only been gone 30 minutes. They wouldn't take us seriously. I was pulling my hair out. I was so worried. Dale said we had to talk to somebody, so I reached out to the house's owner through the Airbnb app. Morella was her name. She responded immediately, expressing concern, saying she would send somebody right away. About 30 minutes later, a pool guy arrived. Peter's Pool People is truck red. We explained what happened and the guy rubbed his chin a bit. And then he made a sick joke saying, "The pool's hungry, huh?" Dale wanted to punch him in the face for the comment. I had to hold him back. We decided to let the pool guy do his thing while we continued looking through the neighborhood. It was either that or fists would be flying. There was still no sight of the girls anywhere. When we got back, the pool guy was gone, but he left a report showing the pool had been cleaned and new chemicals added. That's when we decided to call police. They came promptly, a burly guy and a lady cop. They inspected the scene, took down the info we told them. We said we checked and the girls are nowhere. They asked whether we were sure no one entered the backyard. We said we didn't know, actually. We said we were inside getting drinks. "You were drinking?" the lady cop asked with a sideways glance. The cops looked at each other and gave us a suspicious look. "How much were you drinking?" the burly cop asked. Dale got livid, says drinking was besides the point. "Our girls are missing," he yelled. The cop put his hand up in a calm-down fashion. I squeezed Dale's hand, letting him know he needed to cool it. I went over the whole story again. I said the girls yelled something about being pulled down. We were inside getting drinks from the fridge. We weren't drunk. When we heard the noise, we ran outside and we saw blood in the pool. But they weren't there. There was no water outside the pool either, so it didn't look like they got out. Dale went in, he found nothing. It was like they just vanished. "Pulled down," I said, "to somewhere." That's what Becky screamed. They were being pulled down. It's as if they got swallowed by the pool. We asked about an Amber Alert. The lady cop said that's only if they have info about the person who took them. A car, a license plate, a description, that sort of thing. We just had kids who had been gone a couple of hours. They said they were probably playing tricks. The burly cop was still looking at us suspiciously, and he said, Kids don't get swallowed by a pool. They left and we kept our searching. The cops, of course, found nothing. It was just another missing child report. We found nothing either. We searched every day we were in Phoenix. There were no clues about the twins or where they had gone. Only an Airbnb house with a swimming pool that looked like a hungry mouth.